Most men over 60 have no idea that what's happening to their penis isn't just aging, it's a warning sign. A sign that blood is no longer flowing freely, that your pelvic tissues are inflamed, and that your manhood is silently shutting down. You might notice it when your morning erection fades, when intimacy becomes difficult, or when you get up multiple times at night to urinate. But here's what no one tells you. There's a simple, natural way to restore what you thought was lost, by mixing castor oil with baking soda. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping older men reclaim strength, sensation, and control, without drugs, without shame, and without false hope. Now, I know it sounds strange. Castor oil? Baking soda? What could that possibly do for your penis? But that's exactly why I need you to stay with me. Because the science behind this blend touches every root cause of erectile decline: poor blood flow, inflamed prostate, tissue stiffness, and toxic buildup in the groin. In this video, I'll walk you through how this combination works, why it restores confidence and function in as little as 7 days, and exactly how to use it safely, step by step. You're about to discover what happens when you mix two simple ingredients. And give your body a second chance. And by the end, you'll understand why this might be the most overlooked secret in men's health today. Before we dive into this powerful healing method, make sure you've subscribed and turned on the bell, so you never miss another natural health tip made just for men like you. And if this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. I'm always here to learn and serve you better. Let's begin with something most men don't realize. And it's the very reason this castor oil and baking soda method matters so much. It's not just age that weakens your erections or dulls your sensitivity, it's what's happening inside your body. A silent, gradual decline in circulation, inflammation pressing on nerves, and a prostate that's no longer functioning as it should. This is the first key you need to understand, because once you do, everything else begins to make sense. 1. Why penile function declines after 60, and why this isn't your fault. I want to tell you something that may surprise you. If your erections aren't what they used to be, if your sensitivity feels dull, or if you wake up during the night more often than you'd like, this is not your fault. And it's not just old age catching up with you either. That explanation is far too easy and frankly misleading. What's really happening is more complex and far more hopeful, because once you understand it, you can start to reverse it. You see, for decades, I've sat across from men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, strong men, wise men, who felt ashamed. They thought something was broken in them, that they were losing their manhood, that they were less of a man because they couldn't perform like they used to. I remember one gentleman, Raymond, who looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I feel like I've vanished down there." That hit me hard, but I also knew it wasn't permanent, because I'd seen men come back from it, many times. The real reason your function declines is rooted in blood flow, or more specifically, the loss of it. As we age, the arteries that feed blood to the pelvic region become stiff, narrow, and less responsive. Your penis depends on good circulation more than almost any other part of your body. Without it, sensitivity drops, firmness fades, and response time slows. It's not your hormones, it's not your desire, it's your blood. But that's only part of the story. There's also inflammation, especially around the prostate, that puts pressure on nearby nerves and blood vessels. This not only interferes with your ability to get or keep an erection, but also causes that constant urge to urinate at night, breaking your sleep and draining your energy. When your lower pelvis becomes inflamed and congested, it's like trying to run an engine with blocked fuel lines. And then there's stagnation. After 60, many men move less, sit longer, and unknowingly trap toxins and lymphatic waste in the groin. The body's natural detox pathways slow down. Blood gets sluggish. Tissues don't get the oxygen they need. Over time, this internal congestion starts showing up as fatigue, loss of arousal, numbness, and emotional disconnection. But here's the good news. Once you understand that the problem isn't age, it's congestion, inflammation, and circulation. You can do something about it. Not with pills, not with gimmicks, but with something as simple and natural as castor oil and baking soda. Because the truth is, castor oil has a remarkable ability to restore blood flow, and when combined with baking soda, it becomes even more powerful. But to really grasp why this works, we need to explore what makes castor oil so unique and how it impacts the male body at a cellular level. You're about to discover something most men never hear from their doctors. 2. Castor oil, the circulation warrior for the male body. When I first learned about castor oil in medical school, it was just a footnote, something old-fashioned, something used in folk remedies and grandmothers' pantries. But years later, as I began focusing on men's sexual health, I started to revisit forgotten remedies with fresh eyes. And what I found in castor oil left me speechless. Not because it's trendy or exotic or expensive, but because it works. And it works in a way that modern medicine often overlooks. You see, castor oil has one very unique trait. It penetrates deep. Unlike most oils that sit on the skin's surface, castor oil travels through the layers of tissue. It doesn't just warm the skin, it moves, carrying anti-inflammatory and circulation-boosting compounds directly into congested areas. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful for men over 60, especially when it comes to reviving blood flow and function in the pelvic region. I remember a man named Walter, age 74, who came to me after 2 years of struggling with weak erections and a near-total loss of sensation. He'd tried supplements, even considered injections, but nothing really helped. We began a simple regimen using castor oil packs applied gently over the lower abdomen and groin area. Within 2 weeks, he returned to my office with tears in his eyes. "Doc," he said, "it's like something switched back on." That's the power of blood flow. And castor oil doesn't just help blood get there, it encourages the lymphatic system to clear waste and reduce swelling. That's crucial for older men, because the groin and lower pelvis tend to become dumping grounds for toxins and metabolic buildup over time. Castor oil stimulates the movement of fluid through these areas, flushing out the stagnation and restoring vitality to tissues that have been starved for oxygen and nutrients. It's not just about performance either, it's about feeling alive again. Castor oil stimulates something deeper, the reawakening of connection to your own body. Some men report a sense of warmth, others a return of subtle sensations they thought were lost forever. This isn't magic, it's biology, revived through nature. And the best part? It's gentle, non-invasive. It doesn't interfere with your medications or require a prescription. You apply it with intention, with care, and you let it do what it's done for generations, bring life back to where it's faded. But castor oil on its own is only part of the story. When you combine it with the right agent, something that neutralizes acid, balances pH, and breaks down hardened tissue, the results can become even more dramatic. That's where baking soda comes in. And trust me, it's not just something for your fridge or your teeth. What it does inside the male body may surprise you more than anything else in this video. 3. Baking soda, the detoxifier that softens hardened tissue and clears blockages. Most people think of baking soda as something you keep in the kitchen, or maybe use to freshen up your fridge. But inside the body of an aging man, baking soda becomes something far more powerful. It becomes a healer, a gentle, natural force that breaks down years of silent buildup, acid, stiffness, and toxic debris that have slowly robbed your manhood of strength and sensitivity. I remember one of my patients, Ronald, age 68, who had lived a clean, disciplined life. But even so, his erections were weak, his groin felt tight and heavy, and he always felt like something was clogged inside. We ran every test we could. Hormones? Fine. Blood sugar? Controlled. But then I asked him a question most doctors never think to ask. Have you ever tried using baking soda topically, not just internally? His puzzled look said it all. What most people don't realize is that baking soda is more than just a pH balancer. It neutralizes acid that builds up in tissues, especially in areas with low circulation, like the lower pelvis. When acidity goes unchecked, it creates an environment where inflammation thrives. Over time, it hardens soft tissue, narrows blood vessels, and makes the body more resistant to healing. This is one reason many older men feel numb or swollen down there, because beneath the surface, their tissues are fighting a losing battle against chemical stress. But when applied correctly, especially when combined with castor oil, baking soda softens what's stiff, loosens what's stuck, and clears pathways that have been blocked for years. It's almost like giving your body a second chance to breathe again. Ronald followed a simple protocol. He mixed a small amount of baking soda into warm castor oil, applied it gently across the lower abdomen and inner thighs, and let it rest under a warm cloth. After just 4 sessions, he reported feeling a warmth I haven't felt since I was 40. And the next week, he came back with a grin and said, "Doc, I woke up with morning wood for the first time in 6 years." This wasn't a miracle. It was chemistry, the body finally getting the right environment to restore itself. But what's even more fascinating is how these 2 ingredients, castor oil and baking soda, don't just help on their own. Together, they create a kind of synergy. They enhance each other's effects, going deeper, working faster, and delivering results that are often felt within days. It's not a quick fix, but for men who are patient and consistent, it can feel like turning back the clock. And yet, this powerful blend is just the beginning, because the way you apply it, where, when, and how, can make the difference between mild relief and a full return of sensation and function. Let me show you exactly how to use this method to unlock its full potential. You'll want to hear every detail. 4. How to apply the castor oil and baking soda method for maximum blood flow and sensation. This is where everything begins to change. Not in theory, but in practice. Because now that you understand what castor oil and baking soda do individually, the real magic happens when you use them together with purpose, patience, and presence. I'm not asking you to believe in a miracle. I'm asking you to experience something for yourself, something your body has likely been asking for, silently, for years. Now let me walk you through the method, the same one I've taught to dozens of older men, many of whom had nearly given up hope. The beauty of this isn't just in how effective it is, but in how gentle, grounding, and restorative it can feel. Start with a clean, warm cloth. Mix 1 tablespoon of castor oil with just a pinch, about half a teaspoon, of baking soda. Stir until smooth. Gently warm the mixture if you'd like, either by letting it sit in a bowl of warm water or holding it in your palms. Then, in a quiet moment, no rush, no distractions, apply the mixture over the lower abdomen, inner thighs, and base of the groin. These are the areas where blood flow to the penis originates. These are the power lines, and they need to be clear. Massage slowly in a circular motion, not rough, not rushed. This isn't about force, it's about awakening tissue, encouraging circulation, and signaling your nervous system that it's safe to open. If you want, cover the area with a warm towel for 20 to 30 minutes. The heat helps the castor oil penetrate deeper, and the baking soda starts breaking down those hardened tissues that have dulled your sensitivity for years. Some men notice warmth or tingling within days. Others say they sleep better. Some even report fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom. But across the board, what I hear most often is, "I feel something again." That's the beginning of restoration, not just physically, but emotionally. Because when a man reconnects with his body, even just a little, everything shifts. And here's the thing. This isn't a one-time event. The key is consistency. Even just 3 times a week can bring real change. You're not just applying a mixture, you're reclaiming a ritual. You're showing your body it's still worthy of care, of attention, of life. But what if you could take it even further? What if there were specific acupressure points you could press while applying this blend that would amplify blood flow and wake up nerves that have gone quiet? In the next section, I'll show you 3 forgotten techniques most men have never even heard of. And they may be the missing key to bringing everything back online. 5. The forgotten pressure points that boost male circulation instantly. Sometimes the answers we need aren't hidden in pills or procedures, but in the very palms of our hands. Over the years, as I've worked with older men seeking to restore strength, sensitivity, and connection, I've learned that the human body holds its own keys, quiet little switches that, when activated correctly, can reignite energy and blood flow in ways that science is only beginning to rediscover. And the beauty of it? You already carry them with you. You just haven't been taught how to use them. Let me tell you about George, a 79-year-old widower who came to me not just for advice on performance, but for something deeper. He said, "I don't want to feel invisible anymore." His voice trembled. We didn't talk about medications. We talked about touch. I showed him 3 simple pressure points that, when activated while applying the castor oil and baking soda blend, could help stimulate blood vessels, calm the nervous system, and bring sensation back to areas that had gone quiet for years. The first is right at the base of the wrist, in the soft hollow between the 2 tendons. It's known in Chinese medicine as the heart 7 point. When pressed gently for 60 seconds, it helps reduce stress, slow the heart rate, and open blood vessels. The second is located on the inner thigh, about 4 finger widths from the groin crease. Pressing here boosts blood flow to the pelvis and supports lymphatic drainage. The third, perhaps the most powerful, is found between the big toe and second toe, just where they meet the foot. Known as liver 3, this point helps regulate circulation and testosterone-related energy. You don't need to be a healer to use these. You just need your fingertips, your breath, and a quiet moment. When George began this practice, he didn't expect much. But 2 weeks later, he called me. His voice was different, stronger, brighter. "Doc," he said, "for the first time in years I woke up feeling like myself again." These points aren't magic. They're reminders that your body still responds, that age hasn't taken everything from you, that there's still more inside waiting to be awakened. But if you really want to take this further, if you're serious about restoring not just blood flow, but full body vitality, then what you eat in the hours after this method matters more than you think. Because certain foods can lock in the results, strengthen your erections, and supercharge your recovery, while others can silently undo everything you've just rebuilt. What you put on your plate could either fuel your return or quietly sabotage it. Let's talk about that next. 6. The foods that make or break your results after applying this blend. There's a moment after you apply the castor oil and baking soda blend, after you've gently massaged it into your skin, maybe even done the pressure points, when your body is open, it's calm. The blood vessels are wider, the tissues are softer, and your system is more receptive than usual. And this, right here, is when what you eat matters more than ever. Let me put it this way. You've just cleared the pathways. You've opened the floodgates for healing and blood flow. But imagine opening a clean river and then dumping garbage upstream. That's what happens when the wrong foods follow the right habits. I've seen so many older men do the right things for their bodies, and then undo it all by going back to what's easy, cheap, or familiar on their plate. I'll tell you about Bill, 72, former firefighter, tough as nails but frustrated beyond words. He had been doing the method regularly. "I feel the warmth coming back," he said, "but something's off. It's like I take 1 step forward and 2 steps back." So I asked him to write down everything he ate for a week. And there it was, tons of white bread, processed meats, cheese, and soda. No color, no life, just sugar, salt, and sludge. I helped him shift. Nothing fancy. Just real food with purpose. Beet juice after application to flood the area with nitric oxide. Half an avocado for the healthy fats that feed your hormones. A small bowl of steamed spinach with olive oil and garlic, one of the most powerful natural artery softeners I know. And a piece of dark chocolate. Yes, real cacao, because it stimulates nitric oxide and supports male performance more than most men realize. After a week, Bill felt different. He wasn't just feeling better down there, he was waking up earlier, walking further, even flirting again. "I thought I was finished," he told me. "Now I'm planning a weekend with my old high school sweetheart." That's the power of giving your body what it's hungry for after it opens. The castor oil and baking soda method clears the way, but the right foods keep the road open. They anchor the results. They tell your body, Yes, I'm serious about healing. And just as food can either heal or harm, so can your mindset. You see, the next layer isn't physical at all. It's what you believe about yourself as a man, as a partner, as someone who still has life to live. Because no method works unless you feel like you still matter. And that's what we're going to unlock next. The mindset shift that changes everything. 7. The mindset shift that reactivates your manhood. Most men over 60 don't realize it, but the biggest obstacle to recovery isn't physical. It's not the arteries or the hormones. It's what you silently tell yourself every morning when you look in the mirror. The quiet belief that this is just what happens at my age becomes a silent permission slip to accept decline. And I want to challenge that right now, not with false hope, but with the truth. I've sat across from hundreds of men, strong, hard-working men who had convinced themselves they were no longer desirable, that their best years were behind them. The hurt was never just about performance. It was about identity, about what it means to feel like a man when your body no longer responds the way it used to. And here's the surprising thing I've learned. The body listens closely to what the mind believes. I remember Frank, a 67-year-old who had survived prostate surgery. He had done the treatments, followed every recommendation. He told me, "Doc, I'm physically fine, but I don't feel like a man anymore." That broke my heart. So instead of more prescriptions, I asked him to do something simple. Every time he applied the castor oil and baking soda blend, I asked him to place one hand on his chest and say out loud, "I still matter. My story isn't over." It sounded silly to him at first, but over the next month, something shifted. Not just in his body, but in his eyes, his posture, the way he spoke about himself. "I feel alive again," he said, "not because everything's perfect, but because I stopped treating myself like I was already gone." The truth is, your body responds to intention. When you approach healing not from desperation, but from belief, something inside reignites. You move differently. You carry yourself with quiet pride again. And yes, this impacts circulation, hormone response, and performance. Science backs it up. But more importantly, so do the lives of real men who refuse to give up on themselves. So I'm asking you, what are you choosing to believe about your manhood today? Are you waiting to feel strong before you act like it? Or are you ready to act like it and let the strength follow? Because here's the truth most doctors won't tell you. Your body is listening. And every action, every word, every belief is either feeding your fire or slowly putting it out. But belief alone isn't enough. You need rhythm. You need a simple daily plan that turns all this knowledge into results. You've come this far. Now, let me show you exactly how to make this a 7-day routine that can truly change your life. What happens next could surprise you. 8. The 7-day routine that brings it all together. If you've made it this far, you're not just curious. You're committed. That tells me something powerful about you. You're not one of those men who quietly accepts decline. You're looking for a way back, a way forward. And now that you understand why castor oil and baking soda work, how your mindset matters, and what foods support the process, it's time to bring it all together into one simple, repeatable routine. Because let me be honest, most older men fail not because they don't care, but because they never turn what they learn into something they do. And that's the real key here. Taking all this knowledge and anchoring it into a pattern your body can trust. Here's what I tell my own patients. Every evening, take a moment to slow down. Don't rush this. This isn't another chore. It's a ritual. Warm a tablespoon of organic castor oil. Mix in a pinch of baking soda until it forms a smooth, slightly thick blend. Then apply it gently to your lower abdomen and pubic area, the region where blood flow, nerve activity, and prostate health all intersect. Use slow, circular motions. Let your hand be firm but kind. This isn't just about applying oil, it's about reintroducing your body to your attention. You'd be surprised how many men haven't touched this area outside of necessity or frustration in years. But here, with this blend, you're showing your body that healing is the goal, not shame or disappointment. Once applied, lie down for 10 to 15 minutes. Let the warmth seep in. Let the quiet return to your nervous system. No phone, no distractions, just stillness. If you want to go deeper, apply a warm compress for added absorption, but even without it, the blend will do its work. Right after, not 2 hours later, but right after, give your body the nutrients it needs. A small bowl of spinach or beetroot, a hard-boiled egg, or a glass of pomegranate juice. These aren't fancy superfoods. They're circulation allies. Think of them as fuel for the fire you just lit. Repeat this every night for 7 days. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s start to feel a flicker of energy they thought was long gone. A little more morning fullness, a stronger stream, fewer night awakenings, more confidence. It doesn't all come overnight, but the path begins here. And the best part? The more you do this, the more your body begins to expect healing instead of decline. That's the real transformation, not just in performance, but in identity. But what happens when those 7 days are up? That's where we unlock the deeper rewards. And I'll show you exactly how to go from short-term change to lasting renewal. 9. What to expect after 7, 14, and 30 days. Now let's talk about what actually happens when you follow through, not just for one night, but for a full week, 2 weeks, and even a month, because I know how easy it is to start something and feel uncertain. You apply the castor oil and baking soda, you eat the right foods, you shift your mindset, and then you wait. You wonder, is it really working? Am I just imagining things? So let me walk you through what most of my patients notice, and what you might feel too, if you stay consistent. By day 7, the first thing you'll likely notice is warmth. Not just from the oil, but from within. A quiet awakening. Maybe you wake up with a slight fullness, a feeling you haven't felt in a while. It's not dramatic, and it's not Hollywood, but it's real. That's blood flow beginning to return. Some men also report deeper sleep, fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom, and a calmness they haven't felt in years. That's the nervous system unwinding. That's your body saying, I remember this. By day 14, the changes deepen. The area around your pelvis may feel lighter, less tense. That dull ache or tightness you've grown used to, it begins to ease. Erections may return with more strength, even if you're not fully aroused. Spontaneity begins to peek back into your life. And here's something powerful. Many men start to want to care for their body again. They start walking more, eating better, holding themselves with quiet pride. By day 30, something deeper happens. You stop thinking of this as a treatment and start feeling it as part of who you are. The healing becomes internalized. Blood vessels that were constricted begin to open. Nerve signals that were dulled begin to reconnect. Hormonal shifts, subtle but meaningful, start to support your manhood again. And above all, a deep trust forms between you and your body. I remember one man, Robert, who told me after 30 days, it's not just that things are working again, it's that I feel like myself again. My wife sees it. My walk is different. Even my handshake is stronger. That's the kind of change we're talking about. Not just physical performance, but full body restoration. And yes, it all began with a blend most people overlook. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because after 30 days, the real magic begins. When your body has been primed, and you're ready to introduce one final secret that accelerates everything. A method older generations quietly used for decades, now backed by science. And it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. Ready to find out what it is? 10. The final ingredient hiding in your kitchen. After 30 days of consistency, something incredible happens. Your body is no longer just responding. It's remembering. It's healing. The castor oil and baking soda blend, the nutrients, the breath, the mindset, all of it has laid a foundation. But now, there's one more layer to add. And believe it or not, it's probably sitting quietly in your pantry, waiting for you to see its power. It's apple cider vinegar. Yes, that's simple. Cloudy bottle most of us use once in a while for cooking or digestion. But when combined strategically with this routine, it becomes something more. An activator, a bridge between your internal systems. I know that might sound far-fetched, but stay with me for a moment. When taken just a few drops in warm water before your castor oil and baking soda ritual, apple cider vinegar helps optimize your body's pH levels. This small shift reduces inflammation, supports liver detoxification, and improves how your body absorbs minerals. And here's the kicker. It promotes nitric oxide activity, the very compound that triggers stronger blood flow to the penis. For older men especially, this is the missing piece, because it helps the work you're already doing go deeper. It amplifies the effects. Some of my patients describe it like this. It's like turning up the volume on everything. And they're right. Within a week of adding apple cider vinegar to their nightly protocol, they report firmer erections, better sleep, more energy in the morning, and a sharper sense of mental clarity. One man even told me, "It's the first time I've felt truly alive in years." But here's what I think matters most. This last step isn't just physical, it's symbolic. It's proof that you're still curious, still open to growth, still willing to try. That kind of spirit? It changes everything. It tells your body, I haven't given up. I'm just getting started. And so, with this final ingredient added, you've now built something bigger than a routine. You've built a ritual, a personal roadmap to restoration. A blend of science, tradition, and self-respect that honors your age, your body, and your future. But what does this all lead to? What happens when you carry this momentum forward? Not for 7 days, not for 30, but for life. That's what we'll uncover next. Because the conclusion isn't an ending, it's your new beginning. And in just a moment, I'll show you exactly how far this simple ritual can take you when you choose to truly believe in it. Conclusion. Your new beginning starts now. So here we are. You've walked through a path that many men never even consider. One built not on pills or quick fixes, but on knowledge, tradition, and the courage to try something different. From the ancient healing touch of castor oil, to the balancing strength of baking soda, from restoring blood flow to rewiring your nervous system, and finally, that humble bottle of apple cider vinegar quietly tying it all together. Each piece has built a foundation beneath your feet. This isn't just about your penis. It's about how you feel when you wake up. It's about your confidence when you look in the mirror. It's about how you show up for your partner, your family, and most importantly, yourself. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. Men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, discovering they're not finished. That their body still has stories to write, passion to share, and strength to give. I'm not speaking to you as someone who read this in a textbook. I'm speaking to you as a doctor who sat across from men just like you, frustrated, tired, but not ready to give up. And I'll tell you this. Those who stick with this simple ritual often find not only physical results, but something deeper. A quiet pride. A spark. So take this knowledge and turn it into action. Because this isn't the end of your journey. It's the beginning of a chapter that's stronger, wiser, and more alive than ever. You've earned this. Now go reclaim it. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button, share it with a friend who needs to hear it, and leave a comment below to tell me how this helped you. And if you'd like to support more videos like this for men over 60, consider making a small donation. Every bit helps keep this mission alive. You matter. Your health matters. Let's keep going together.